Hey there, welcome to our official channel of WebOsmotic. I am Rahul Desai with 6 years of experience in IT industry. I am working as a team lead at WebOsmotic. I have some useful information to share with you. This will help you a lot in your work. Let's get started and learn together. Hello guys. Nowadays Node.js beginner facing so many problems related to connection with mongoDB, structure of the project, and the libraries. This library is useful on the project or not. We need to use that library or not. What is the purpose of that libraries? All the details we will discuss on this video and overcome all the problems. So let's start with bcrypt.js. Bcrypt.js is basically used to hashing the data. If I'm giving you the example, password is the best example for the bcrypt where we are using. Next one is .env. .env is basically used to read data from the env file and use on the project. Third one is EJS. EJS is most commonly used on the single page application where we have one or two page on the application and we can run the HTML using EJS extension and run the application. Next one is Express. We all know Express is a framework and we are using to manipulate the data on the database. Next one is Joy. Joy is basically used for the validation, validate the request body data is valid or not. For example, email, then phone number, first name, last name, all the details are valid or not. Next one is JSON Web Token. JSON Web Token, JWT, is basically used for the validating or authenticate the user. Next one is Multer. Multer is basically used for the file uploading things, the multiple form data things. So on that scenarios, we are using Multer. Next one is Node Mailer. Node Mailer is basically used to send email to the user. For example, I have the scenario. Whenever user register into the system, we are sending one verification email. So for that verification email, we are using Multer. Next one is Node Mode. Whenever we change something on the application, like I have the PI server file and I'm changing something on that file, Node Mon will be restart server automatically. We don't want to stop the server and start again. It's done automatically by Node. And last one is Winston. Winston is basically used to logging the data. For example, I'm calling an API and the response and request I need to log on the any of the folder like log folder and anywhere. So I'm using that Winston library. Okay, so let's start with the folder structure on the project. So first one is common folder where we are adding all the common files which is used on the project. I have created HTTP status code and response function file to make it work commonly on entire project. Second one is logs where we are creating all the logs based on API response and the flow of connectivity of the database. That kind of data, like I have added log for MongoDB disconnected, MongoDB connected, all the logs. So based on that, we are getting those data. Next one is SRC where we have added all the modules like user module, partner module, plan module, whatever module we have on the project, we need to mention each and every as a folder. Inside the folder, we need to create 6 files. First one is controller, second one is DAO, third one is modules, fourth one is routes, fifth one is services, and sixth one is validation. So we are going to check flow now. Our root file is routing file where we have added all the routes for the files and also mention the value middlewares as well, like check roll, upload single file, that kind of things. So let's start with the first one. It's controller file where we are going. On the controller, first we need to check request body data is valid or not. So for that we have user.validation file and we have created one method inside that and validate all the fields like first name, last name, email, address, and so on. So if I'm getting any error from the validation file, I directly return that error to the user and don't execute code inside the function. Just return the validation error message to the user. If everything is working, validation is perfect, we'll go on next line and call the service file to check user email there or not. This basically return the data based on the user. User is there, then data coming upon the response, user email, otherwise not. If user is exist, then we have added log for email is exist and return the error message. If user is not exist on the database, we are continue processing and create the service file. We'll discuss more on the next video related to authentication, their access token and refresh token, how we can create, what is the scenarios of access and refresh token, so on, and also be email sending functionality. So we'll cover it on the next video. I'm just giving a short introduction about all the files and all the details which we need to mention on the specific file. So here is the service where we have business logic like created salt and decrypt the password, created hash for the password, and create random code and so on. So here is the few files where model is there, where we just specify the model thing. That's it. No mongoDB methods which we are using. We just need to mention those methods on the DAO file. If we are using aggregation, then also we need to mention aggregation here, not on the model file. Okay. So based on that, all the files are created. If I'm going on the user post, that also created 6 files. So we are not going on those files further. We'll discuss when we create the auth flow. Next one is middleware. Middleware basically used for the, if I'm giving you common example, which is authentication flow. So if we are getting any authentication token from the user side, then we will just verify on the middleware like this user is valid or not, this user role is valid or not. That kind of things generally we are doing. If everything is perfect, we just call next. If not, then we will return the error message. That's it. On the service file, we have created common services. For example, if we need to send emails to the user, some time of interval we need to send email, or the constant, that kind of things we have mentioned on this file specific, like created and a function, and all the code related to send email we have mentioned here. This also be discussing on the next video whenever we cover email sending functionality when we go the authentication flow. So here is the done. Here is our routing main file where we have mentioned all the routes like auth, users, and post. After that, we have upload folder where we have uploaded images, whatever we needed, and utils where we have created services. We can call services as well on the util, common functions basically, where we can use those common functions to entire system. Like logger is the one, multer is the one where we added all the files like authentic validating file is valid or not, file size is valid or not, and if we are uploading the file, that code also be included here. So all the details are there. After that, views. Whenever we use EJS file, we need to mention that EJS file on the view folder, so that we can mention HTML code as we discussed on a few minutes ago. This all the details related to HTML we mentioned here. If we need to do looping things, all the things we can do. We can do condition check as well. We make loops as well on the HTML code directly. So that is the basic flow. We discuss more about this one as well on the next videos. Next one is .git ignore file where we mention all the modules which we didn't push on the repo. This is the things like node module we don't want to push, config file config.env we don't want to push. So these all details are there. Then .env file where we have mentioned all the details like port, Mongo's URL, secret key, refresh token, and so on. Next one is index.js. We have just added code of connection with MongoDB and the server start. That's it. We don't add cores and all. We'll edit live on the next videos, and we'll discuss more about that. After that, package.json file, as we discuss all the libraries and dependencies, and more things are there, like scripts are there where we mention all the scripts, start script, but then if we are adding test cases, that also we mention, that version of the project, name of the project, and description if we have. That's it. Now we are going for the connection of the mongoDB. We just need to see, like on config file we have added mongoDB URL, and we are using that URL on the server file. We just use mongoose for that, mongoose.connection, and we given the URL which we got from the env file. We need to make sure here one thing, on the older versions we are using localhost and it's fine to making connection with the mongoDB, but in the latest version we need to use IP for that, like 127.0.0.1 is the IP of the localhost, which is common for all. So based on that we are making connections, but if we have a latest version and we are using localhost, it won't be connected. Let me check localhost, and if I'm starting the server, it's giving me error related to connection not found. Let's see what's happened. Server is running, but database connection won't be performed. It will take some time because connection process is not completed yet with the database. Yeah, it's completed and we got an error like Node.js version, latest version, and here is the error like connection refused. And if we are using IP, it's allow us to make connection with mongoDB. Right now we didn't have any database here related to PayMe. It's coming up because our data mongoDB has connected successfully with the data, so we have all the details. So we need to make sure whenever we create mongoose URL, we need to use IP instead of localhost and add the name of the database, whatever we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you found the content is valuable, don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel, and looking forward to your feedback on the below comment section. See you in the next video.